All right, welcome to Make It Rain Bootcamp. This is week 1, and I'm super excited to be sharing with you guys tonight about compensation as our focus tonight. We also have a special guest speaker that's going to come on, Christy Phillips, who's been a coach with me for a while, and it's been such a pleasure having her on my team. So excited to hear her share part of her story tonight. What we're going to be talking about really heavily tonight is compensation and trying to help you understand how you make money, and I'm going to say this one time so I can kind of throw a disclaimer out, and then I don't want to have to talk about it over and over again. But if you know me, you know my heart is that money is talking about changing people's lives. And whenever I talk about money and what's possible with Optavia, I want you to understand that directly translates to a life changed. Okay, so when I talk about the money that you can make and all that stuff, start thinking about this as Kelly and I talk about it all the time, like a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset, because the amount of money doesn't matter if you live in a scarcity mindset. If you start shifting towards living in abundance, then the more money you have, the more people you can bless with it. It's not about you anymore. It's not about necessarily what the money can do for you, even though we do know that the power in that lies in understanding what the money means and not just what the dollar is, So start moving your mind in that way, and start trying to shift any kind of scarcity thinking you have into an abundance mindset, because abundance is where it's at. Because if you make $10,000 a month, but you spend $12,000 a month, then you're in scarcity still. So it's learning how to balance those things and learning how to be a good steward of what you have, not just make more money and make more money. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started. So this week's theme is going to be Come Alive, Dream with Your Eyes Wide Open. And I'm going to start out by sharing a video I have from this amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, it's called The Greatest Showman. There's so much in that movie that directly applies to what we do as health coaches. So I kind of got a long clip here, but there's several things that we're going to talk about from the clip that speaks directly to what we do as health coaches, and starting to kind of to get rid of some of these concepts you have around, living your life out loud and blessing other people. So I'm going to pull that clip up real quick and share that with you guys. Got your head on low, your skin's in shade. Some begins to miss. There's something inside that you can shake away. Cause you just didn't want it. Think about your own options. But you can fix what you got on your darkest day. Sometimes I think I was blind. Took the world and redefine it. We can't know money, you'll never be the same. Come alive, come alive. Go light your light, let it burn so bright. Reach it up to the sky, and it's open wide. Your face will fire. The world shoots up fancy, and you're more than you could ever be. It's a dream and with your eyes wide open. Whoa, you know that you go back again to the world that you were living in. It's a dream and with your eyes wide open. So come alive. Oh. They're waiting. For what? For you. They don't know it yet. They're gonna love you. Trust me. Time. Up. See it in your eyes. You believe that lie that you need to hide your face. Afraid to step outside. So you lock the door, but don't you stay that way.
Come on, ain't no child. You and me, we don't have that. Oh, it's once you see it, oh, you'll never, never be the rolling like joy, it burns so bright, reaching up to the sky, and it's open wide for electric. And the world becomes a fantasy anymore than you could ever be. It's a dream and with your eyes wide open. And you know we can't go back again to the world that we were dreaming. It's a dream and with your eyes wide open. So come alive.
This is bad. Criminal, degrading. Circus, I like circus. Inside, oh, right.
Attack the freaks! Your master's calling!
That's not enough, sir. You print this review in every paper in New York. Half price ticket, 21 days in it.
Come on, you leave, come on. Anyone who's burning to come on, you hear, come on. Anyone who's searching for a way to break free. Becomes a fantasy anymore than you could ever be. You're dreaming with your eyes wide open. And we know we can't go back again to the world that we were dreaming. You're dreaming with your eyes wide open.
Okay, I know that was kind of long, but that movie gets me hyped up. And I really thought it was a great intro because if you start thinking about some of the things that were going on in that clip, obviously living with your eyes wide open or dreaming with your eyes wide open is a huge part of what we do as coaches. But I also wanted you to start thinking about the things that were happening there, like the bearded lady coming on and being scared to death to really step and put herself out there in front of everybody. And him saying that they're all going to love you. You just don't know it yet. You know, I think that's huge for like stepping out and putting yourself out there. And I don't know if you've seen the movie, but they all do start loving her. She's kind of like the centerpiece of that, what he's doing there. And even down to like being bashed in the newspaper and the people outside like fighting and all that stuff, like good gracious, like if that's not a direct correlation to what we do, and how some people are going to say all kinds of bad things against us possibly, or throw hate at you, or throw like, you know, judgment your way, because what you do scares them, or what you do is a little bit different than what they're used to, or they think you're running some kind of MLM where you're trying to just sell stuff. They won't understand that this isn't what we do until you start being bold, until you start living out loud, until you start sharing exactly what we do. So let me go back to my share here and pull up the slideshow again. So let's dive into the meat of this stuff, right? What y'all are here for, really, the basic compensation stuff. Let me make sure I didn't miss any comments here. Perfect. Okay, so basic compensation. So this is the basics of how we make money. So instead of showing you, like I said, like this big chart and talking about all these different like ranks and all this stuff, the way my mind works best to think about this in the most simple way is you are going to make 15% on all new and recurring orders that process between the prior Monday to Sunday. So we know with Optavia we get paid weekly for our basic commissions. So the best way to think about that is like this week on Monday all the way until this coming Sunday, everyone that you sign up as a new client in that time period, and or everyone that places a recurring order between this yesterday and this coming Sunday, you're going to get a 15% check cut to you by Optavia. It's going to come next week, right? So just based on numbers alone, when you get $1,200 in frontline volume, and if you're brand new, you don't know what that is, frontline volume is the amount of client orders that you have, you get an automatic 5% bonus. So in addition to that, for every $1,200 in frontline volume you go up, you're going to get another 2% bonus. So all that starts stacking on itself. And your max compensation when you hit $6,000 in frontline volume or $6,000 in client orders is 28%. So if you start thinking about that, every time you place an order, once you are at $6,000 frontline volume and above, you make 28% of that back in commissions, and that's your basic commissions. Then when you hear people talk about certification, so certification as a coach gives you a forever 3% raise. So like, we have coaches that get certified all the time. I want to kind of clarify that. It's a test you take that gives you that 3% raise forever. So that takes your max basic compensation from 28% to 31%. So think about that. Just your basic commissions on $6,000 frontline volume is $1,860 a month. So that is almost $2,000 a month that you make in basic compensation by having a $6,000 frontline. And you can apply that math to, whatever number that you're making in whatever place you are with your frontline volume, because your basic compensation has no attachment to rank. Your basic compensation is strictly based on your frontline volume and the fact that you have at least 5 clients, right? So 5 ordering entities, and then whatever your frontline volume on top of that is, and it goes all the way up to 31% as a certified health coach. So in my brain, the way I think about it, let me stop share for a minute. The way I think about it in my brain, the easiest is I know I'm going to get paid 15% every week on what clients I placed the orders on than the previous week. On top of that, so like if I'm an executive director that makes 31%, that 15% is going to pay out weekly. And then my monthly bonus is going to be that extra 16%, because 31 minus 15 is 16%. So that 16% is going to come as a bonus check once a month. So I get 15% weekly, boom, 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 4 times, whatever, in that month. Then at the end of that month, Optavia is going to look at how much my frontline volume was and calculate that extra additional percentage and then pay me a bonus based on that. So that's why we only pay that bonus once a month, because if you're getting paid weekly, you're getting paid 15% weekly regardless of rank. It does not matter what your rank is, and it doesn't matter what your frontline volume is. You're always going to get 15%. But where your frontline volume comes in to play here is with your additional ranks. So hold on, I got somebody unmuted. So you will never make more than 15% commissions weekly. Everything else is paid once a month. So if you're making 31%, you make 15% weekly, additional 16% is once a month. I just want to stop and make sure, because that's a real important thing to understand. Is anyone have questions about that or not clear on that I can refine some? Just come off mute or pop a question in the chat, because I really want you to understand that, because that is the most basic compensation. And that's where you can kind of empower other people to understand what their earning potential is, even as a brand new coach. So how about this? Put a 1 in the chat if you understand that you're going to get paid 15% every week from the previous week's orders, and then you're going to make your additional bonuses on top of it. So Gail asked a good question. Even if you're certified, it's only 15%. Yes. The 3% extra you get from being certified comes in a monthly bonus. So you'll never make more than 15% on a weekly check. Everything else is monthly bonuses. Does that make sense, Gail? And you answered, that was you asking that question. I can't see you, so I didn't see you put in the chat, and we'll move on. All right, cool. I really want everybody to understand that because that's a very important part. So the best way to look at compensation really is looking in buckets. So bucket number one is client acquisition and support. There's 3 buckets, right? So we're going to talk about each bucket, but we're going to start here. How many clients do you want to bless this week? So start thinking about this month, this season, this year, because it's all about setting goals, short-term and long-term. You know, it's the same thing as it's related directly to like our health journey. So you always have to set short-term goals and long-term goals. And the same thing applies to your business and how many people you want to bless. So it's so important for you to understand bucket number one, because that's your basic compensations, and to understand that compensation equals helping people succeed, right? So I just wanted to give you like an example. If you're looking at 6,000, so if you see that $6,000 in frontline volume or $6,000 in client orders, and you're like, that's a lot of people. Well, $6,000 divided by 356, which we know is our standard order, is 17 clients. So if you have 17 clients that are ordering on full program, a lot of times even, you say, well, that's their first month. Well, actually their second month is usually more like 380 or 400, depending on how many boxes they order, if they're ordering a full month. So we know that actually goes up, and you could have less clients and still get 6,000 in frontline volume. But just to kind of give you a good set example of where to go, 17 clients is going to get you $6,000 in frontline volume. And just wanted to throw this in here too. So 5 clients in the first 30 days is a bonus that the company gives you. Is called a client assist or a client acquisition bonus. That gives you $100 extra. So we're going to look at that in a minute. But when you have a new coach come on, it's a very easy thing for you to get them excited and talk about what's possible in that first month. Because if they sponsor 5 clients in the first 30 days as a brand new coach, not only are they going to hit senior coach and they're going to make about $450, they're going to make a $100 bonus on top of that. So they're going to make almost $550 in their first month as a brand new coach. That's huge, because that offsets their expenses for being on 5-1 if they are on 5-1. It offsets their expenses for that, but it also gives them money. Like, they make profit in their very first month, regardless of if they're on program or not. So that's huge for people, because what other business is there in the whole world that you know of that you can invest $200 in, and for a year you can make that kind of money even in the first month? That's outrageous. I mean, start thinking about what people make as health coaches and what's possible. It's huge for you to show that to somebody, and for you to be able to show that to somebody, you have to really understand it, at least on the basic level of what's possible as a brand new coach even. So let's go back to this for a second. I want to talk about this health coach consistency bonus before we move to bucket 2, because the health coach consistency bonus comes from being certified. So once you obtain certification, not only do you get all your basic commissions, you get that 15% basic, you get the 3% on top of that for being certified, and then you get the extra 2% all the way up to 31% because of being $6,000 in frontline volume. On top of that, Optavia pays you this health coach consistency bonus. So if you have at least $2,000 in frontline volume for 3 months, they're going to give you a $250 bonus on top of everything else. If you average $4,000 for 3 months, they're going to give you a $500 bonus. If you average $6,000 for 3 months, they're going to give you a $1,000 bonus. Well, I don't know about y'all, but maybe put a 4 in the chat, because you're going to get it 4 times a year. If $4,000 extra a year sounds good to you, I think $4,000 extra a year on top of my basic commission sounds amazing. So that's all getting to that level. And that's why we encourage you to start thinking about sharing more and sharing more, because your goal really initially as a brand new coach is not just to come on and hit senior. That is a huge milestone, yes, but that puts you well on your way to rocking towards those 17 clients that it's going to take for you to be able to get to the $1,000 consistency bonus. Your $6,000 in frontline, hold that for at least 3 months, and Optavia pays you $1,000 extra on top of your earnings. So not only are you making almost $2,000 a month in basic commissions, so times 3, $6,000. Then you get a $1,000 bonus. So in 3 months as an Optavia coach, you could make $7,000 in 3 months. Has anybody thought about that? How crazy is that? That in 7 months you could have made $7,000 as an Optavia coach. That's insane, right? It's pretty crazy that we get the opportunity to make that kind of money, blessing other people, and not just like, what people think we do a lot of times, which is sell products. We have the opportunity to show them that what we do is so much more than that. What we do is actually care about them and want to pour into their life and help them live the best life possible. So I want to pause there for a minute. And I want to bring Christy Phillips on if she's ready to come off and go live and share just a little bit about her personal journey as an Optavia coach and how Optavia has blessed her. Christy, are you available to come off or come on live? Sweet.
Yes.
So let me intro Christy a little bit, just in case you don't know Christy. So Christy, first of all, is my cousin, and I love her dearly. She started a program not long after me. Also became a coach not long after me, and she has blessed thousands of people. Even, she's probably shaking her head maybe, but she blesses so many people, not just by helping them come on program and do better, but by living her life out loud and being an inspiration. So I really wanted her to come on and share kind of what her journeys look like with Optavia. So Christy, take it away. The mic is yours.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Kevin, really. Well, the biggest thing, and I just want to start off with something that he just finished with, is that we don't sell anything. I'm going to talk a little bit about my timeline, but the biggest thing is we build relationships, and that's the big difference. We are encouragers to each other, but to the people that just need our help, who need hope. And that's what, if we're selling anything, that's what we're selling. I started in 2016. I was sitting here doing the timeline today, and man, time flies. So this year when I renew, it'll start my 3rd year of coaching. And the first, when I first started, it really was for me to have the money to stay on program. And probably 6 months in or something like that, I was let go from my job. And I told Kevin what I needed per month to stay afloat. And I didn't know that I could believe or trust in all of that so far in the Optavia. So I went out and got another job and focused on it. Well, honestly, Optavia became my primary income. And just really was blessed by that. A state executive director for over 12 months. And just financially really in a struggling situation where Optavia just came in and took that struggle off of me. And so it was really a blessing. I don't want to talk specific dollars and things like that, but when he did the frontline volume of 6,000 and you see 17 clients, that sounds so overwhelming. Cooper thinks it's overwhelming. By the way, my dog always thinks that I'm talking to him when I talk to these things. Sorry about that. But anyway, 17 clients sounds like a lot, but there were some months that I had over, I think there was even months that I had a $10,000 frontline volume, but it was because I was consistent and I was in my business every single day, spending tons of time. But it was my focus, and it was my just sharing hope with others. It was just really neat. I did decide to go back to work last year full time, and my frontline volume has suffered from that. And I don't tell you that despairingly. I just tell you that because the more time that you focus into this, the more you're going to reap from it. I mean, it's no different than anything else. In preparing for tonight, I wrote down a few things that was actually in Dr. A's book, Discover Your Optimal Health. That's in the very last part. And he just says the importance of organizing your life around what matters most. I don't have young children in my home now. I just have a dog. And, I'm not sure that I won't be back in Optavia full time. It's honestly something that's been laid back on my heart in this last few months. And I don't know, we'll see where that goes.
but I guess I wanted to share with you today what Optavia has meant for me. It has meant my mortgage. I can consistently say that Optavia's money goes right into my mortgage bank account and has taken care of my mortgage now for over 2 years. And I'm just so blessed to have found it. I've done things before where we've sold things. I'll never give this up, I don't think. I hope I haven't been too random or too flighty with the things that I've said, but it really is about building relationships with others and just pouring into others. But first, you have to take care of yourself. I love what Doug Wood, I think it was today, we had that inspirational thing from him. You have to be selfish for a moment to get yourself right so that you can pour out to others. And I think it kind of hits on what Kevin was saying before about, you know, that mindset of, I don't know, just trying to, what was it, Kevin?
Abundance.
Abundance. Thank you. It is so different than we talked about it last night in our ladies group, the desperate of holding on. So I think about that like, oh gosh, we got to get this money because I'm not going to make my mortgage payment. We'll just use my mortgage payment. But how about, oh wow, I'm helping all these people. I get to let go and live in that abundance life. And by the way, here's some extra money for this other charity event that I just got asked for because I'm blessed with the things that have been given to me out of my abundance, if that makes sense. So anyway, Kevin, I think that's all I have. Thank you for letting me share, and I hope it's been encouraging to somebody here on the call tonight.
Yes, Christy, I loved it. Thank you so much. I love about Christy's journey is it's such a real journey. You know, like there's no like put on about Christy. There's no like I'm telling you about what my life happened. This is real life. She's never, and she'll tell you, so I'm not speaking for her hopefully, but she's never given up Optavia no matter what has happened in her life. And even when she started back working a full-time job, you know, it was never her purpose to stop helping people. You know, like she's always looked at it as more than a paycheck. And I think that's so important and speaks volumes into the energy that you bring to Optavia, right? And there's nothing wrong with utilizing Optavia as a way to make a significant income because it's possible with Optavia. And if you hang on to the end, or I'm going to show you what some crazy incomes that we have seen in this company and what's possible. It still blows my mind. So hang around for that for sure. But the point is it is kind of shift into that abundance mindset. But sometimes we have to give ourselves grace in the beginning and work on ourselves some. You know, how many of you, like for real, put a Y in the chat maybe if you started Optavia to solve a problem. And it's okay if you did. You know, there's no shame in it. But if you started Optavia to solve a problem, put a Y. You know what? I am going to go in here and put a Y myself because I started Optavia to lose weight, which is problem solving. And it's the same thing with a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. So I want to try to help you see that connection because we don't stay problem solvers as Optavia coaches. We start shifting to creating solutions, right? If you stay in that problem solving mindset, then it's a scarcity mindset. It's what you're going to lose if. It's what you're going to give up if. It's what you're going to oscillate back to if, you know, and instead of thinking about what's possible and, you know, what you can create from Optavia. That's so important, you know, and it's good to do those transactional things like, yes, write down like a number of lives that you want to bless this month. That is a concrete like number thing, but also start thinking about what it means to give this gift to those people and what's possible that you're creating in their life. Because it is a gift, is an amazing gift that we get to give away. And, you know, tonight is really heavy, healthy finances. You know, the crazy thing is if you think about this, how many times, and I know you do come into this because all of us have come up to this objection, people say they can't afford program. Anybody had that objection? I'm going to think probably all of you have had that objection, because I know I have. People that can't afford program or think they can't afford program, number one, they have a scarcity mindset, and that's okay. We're not judging them. It's just the realization of knowing that. Number two, they don't have healthy finances, because if they had healthy finances, they would be able to afford the program or whatever. They would be able to afford whatever they wanted because they would have abundance in their life. Does that make sense? So it's so important to understand those concepts and where they come from. They root from having a scarcity mindset. A lot of things come from that. And we can live in abundance and Optavia. And that's part of not just healthy finances, but that healthy mind piece. And all that starts to come to fruition with our, a lot of us starting with a healthy body. So let's go back to share. We're going to talk about bucket two. Bucket two is coach acquisition and support. So bucket one was client acquisition and support. How many people's lives you're going to bless, starting new people on program, getting them on their weight loss journey for most people, working on that healthy body. Bucket number two is coach acquisition and support. So if you don't know, coach acquisition and support is all of the trilogy. It's the total trilogy offer. Why? How else can you help somebody with healthy finances? How else are you going to help them improve that situation? How else do you start building that healthy mind? A lot of the times, if someone comes in this program and their focus is healthy body, they do a diet. And it's hard to transition someone unless you start talking to them about the full trilogy offering. But also, who else knows that being a coach helps you with healthy body? They said some crazy statistic in the Intentionality Summit this past December in Phoenix, that it was like, health coaches are like 500% more likely to succeed in their healthy body journey. It's because you have all that added accountability, and it keeps your mind not just focused on health and healthy habits, but you're teaching other people those healthy habits. So it becomes this all-encompassing thing to offer someone coaching. So that's how important it is to give it away. So the question to answer yourself for bucket number two is, who do you know that needs the full trilogy? It's probably everyone, but a lot of times people come in this and they might have healthy finances, and so we prejudge them. We prejudge them and say they don't need coaching because they already make a lot of money. Well, remember what I said in the beginning? It's not about how much money they make. It's about, do they have an abundance mindset? It's about, do they have the healthy mind to go along with the healthy finances and the healthy body? Do they have everything? Because everything's what we offer. So let's talk about bucket two. So bucket two, you can't start talking about bucket two until you cover rank advancement. Rank advancement is point-based to the point where you reach executive director. So I know we've started talking about points a lot lately. Points is a really important thing to understand, because executive director rank is point-based. The way you get there is either having enough volume or enough senior coach teams, and you have to have really a combination of those if you're going to go what's called blended path, if you hear someone say that. So every $1,200 in frontline volume equals 1 point. Every senior coach team you have on your team equals 1 point. So you need 5 points to be an executive director. You can get there all by yourself with $6,000 in frontline volume, because $6,000 in frontline volume divided by 1,200 is 5. So that's 5 points. However, this is how strategic it is to start building coach teams, and why we're talking about this is you can have $4,800 in frontline volume and one senior coach team on your team and still be an executive director. You can have $3,600 in frontline volume and 2 senior coach teams and still be an executive director, because you're still hitting that point total that you're trying to achieve. So anyone have any questions before we move on about the point system? Just drop them in the chat if you do. I'll give a couple of minutes. So 5 points is where you're trying to get for an executive director. And you get there all by yourself with just clients running $6,000 frontline volume or higher. or you can go blended, which is what, a lot of people say. A lot of people hit executive director, $4,800 in frontline volume and one senior coach team. That happens a lot. The cool thing about that is then when you get to $6,000 in frontline volume, you have 6 points and you have a little cushion for, say you have a canceled order at the end of the month, or, you have $5,800 in frontline volume next month, but you have a senior coach team. You don't lose that executive director rank and the pay that comes with it, right? So that's an important part for you to understand. I don't see any questions, so we're going to keep it moving. So team growth bonuses. So let's talk about this. So this is a whole nother bonus on top of your basic pay, right? For coaches in your teams that are second level clients and below. So think about this, like say I'm a coach. Christy is my frontline client. So these team growth bonuses are made on her team and below, not on her actual personal volume, but everything that happens in her team and below. So any coaches she has in her business and their clients. So every rank up you have as a coach, or every rank up your coach has, you make less until executive director. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but basically this is why this is a different structure, and why we talk about this is because Optavia is so unique in the way we pay. Because it's not a triangle where, the person above you will make more money than you forever and ever. It doesn't matter what you do. It's not set up that way. You can actually outrank your coach above you, and you make all the money. They don't make any money on your clients. And I think that's powerful to understand, because you own your own business. And yes, your business coach gets paid to help you. That's why Optavia pays us so well to be your business coach. But if you're outranking your business coach, then you're moving past them in a skill set. And so Optavia gives you all the money, and the business coach that might be, positionally above you, but isn't ranking above you, doesn't make that money anymore. FYI, on top of the other $1,000 bonus that we talked about, if you become a FIBC, or I should say when you become a FIBC, which is called a fully integrated business coach, you make another $1,000 every 3 months. So remember that, number we were talking about. If you are an executive director making, $2,000 a month as an executive director, you make $2,000, $4,000, $6,000 in a 3-month period. You get a $1,000 bonus for being certified, and you get another $1,000 bonus for being a fully integrated business coach. So you get $8,000 just as an integrated executive director is what a FIBC is. So that is an ED that has 5 senior coach teams in their business. Somebody asked a question, so I'm gonna stop and see what that is real fast just to make sure. When you become, exactly. So love that attitude, because it's going to happen with consistency. So does everyone understand that? You have the possibility of earning 2 $1,000 bonuses on top of your basic commissions every 3 months. So that's huge. That's $2,000 just in extra bonuses, not counting your basic commissions. So it's crazy what Optavia does and how they pay us to do these things. So I just wanted to show you this example of a team growth bonus. And this is what we're talking about. So this would be you as a regional director. You have a senior coach team here. So your frontline is not included. So you're not making this bonus on your frontline. However, your senior coach team down here, you make 8% on them. So all your senior coaches' clients, you make 8%. When you have a manager, you make 6%. When you have an associate director, you make 4%. When you have a director, you make 2%. When you have an ED, you don't make anything on this team growth bonus example. However, you are eligible for an ED generation bonus. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is where it's tiered. So the higher rank your coach gets on their, they're ranking up themselves, they're earning more points, they're running a higher frontline volume, the less you make, because the more they make, right? And then we're going to talk about bucket number 3. So bucket number 3 is leadership, meaning you have executive director teams coming on and then going beyond that, right? So there's what we call a generation bonus. As a qualified executive director, for all executive director teams you have in your front line, you make 2.5% on their business. So if I am a global director and I have 5 ED teams, all 5 of those teams, I make a 2.5% bonus on their whole business. Everything they do, which is pretty awesome. It sounds like a small amount, but that can be a huge number for you, right? That can be a huge bonus. It adds up over time. You can also make this bonus up to 6 levels deep. So as you continue to grow and rank, you know, beyond executive director, national director, global director, presidential director, you make further down in depth. So you start making these bonuses, boom, 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 over and over again, which is huge. You know, as you grow a big business, you know, bucket number 3 might not be something you can really conceptualize right now, but I want you to understand this is a piece of the puzzle. This is kind of that last bucket that usually you feel, because you're going to feel bucket number 1. That's going to spill over into bucket number 2, because your clients are going to start becoming coaches, and then your coaches become senior coaches, and then that starts spilling over into bucket number 3, and your senior coaches and beyond start becoming executive director teams and beyond, right? So you are big time now, right? You, not to diminish anything that anyone's doing, but when you start hitting these leadership bonuses, this elite leadership bonus, it starts showing up big time in your check. So you make a percentage on your entire business as a national, global, and presidential director down through the second qualifying leader at the same level. So these little percentages, I say little because they're huge really, they stack as well and they start adding up. So as a national director, on top of the 2 $1,000 bonuses and all your basic commissions, and on top of all your ED generation bonuses, you get an extra 0.5% on your entire business. So they look at your whole business and go another 0.5 and pay that out. As a global director, you get 2. You get your national director bonus, and then you get your global director bonus. So that's 0.5 plus 0.5. So you get a 1% total bonus on your whole business as a global director. And then on top of that, you're a presidential director. You get the national director bonus, the global director bonus, plus a 0.5 for your presidential. So you get a 1.5% bonus on top of your whole business. So that's huge, y'all. So this just gives you an example of that. It goes down through a person. So if I'm a national director and I have a national director in my business, I still make this bonus through their business down to the national director. So as you start growing your business, these are huge because they don't stop right here. They continue through that all the way down to the next level that you're making that 0.5% on. So it's pretty epic when that starts adding up. So I know we've talked about a lot of information and a lot of like figures, but the last thing I want to leave you with is this. There is what's possible, and I'm going to go back to share, but I wanted to say this before we closed. Y'all, these numbers I'm about to share are monthly incomes, monthly. And I say that again on the slide because it's bonkers what you can do. And the reason for that, and I just want to have a very real conversation because I talked to a coach recently about this, and this is what's crazy is say you work 8-hour shifts, right? Say you work 5 8-hour shifts and you had the possibility of working one less, right? So you would work 4 8-hour shifts. If you took that 8 hours that you were working your day job and you spent that on Optavia every week, you would grow a massive, massive business that might start out incrementally small. But by investing that time, and look, I'm not saying you have to invest 8 hours, but what I'm saying is the potential there is so much greater than what you could ever make working that 8 hours as whatever you work now. Even me as a nurse, I got raises as a nurse in the 7.5 years that I worked at the hospital. I would get like a 2% raise at the most, which is good. Not complaining. But what I'm saying is you can give yourself a 2% raise here every time you go up $1,200 in frontline volume, which means every time you add 4 clients, basically, you give yourself a 2% raise. And that's the most basic compensation. It's crazy what's possible here. So I want you to like take a deep breath with me, because I'm getting ready to share with you some incomes. And these are real incomes people shared with us in December at Intentionality Summit. So this is a lot of numbers on here, right? But what I want you to see is, even as an executive director, $5,471 a month as an ED. Now, this frontline volume here is high. I mean, like realistic. I mean, that's a high frontline volume, but it's possible. But that just shows you that even as an executive director, you can make over $60,000 a year as an Optavia coach. So a frontline volume of 15,100 and a group volume of 21,000. So you can tell, like, so 15,000 is part of this, right? So this person's team was only another $5,000 in volume on top of their frontline volume, and they were making $5,471 a month. Now, 1889, this is probably what most people are used to, and they have no coaches. This is someone running a $6,097 frontline volume. That's all they have. They don't have any coach teams, and they're making $1,889 a month. Okay, FIBIC, we talked about that. This is an ED that has 5 senior coach teams. So $3,256 a month, all the way up to $10,365. Now, this is not a typical FIBIC business, but I'm just telling you, the incomes here are bonkers, right? Integrated regional. So that is an ED with 1 ED team. Range from $4,124 a month, and this is their frontline and group volume, to $7,292 a month. National director. This is 3 ED teams. $4,723 bottom, all the way up to $12,577 a month. It's bonkers, y'all, right? Global director. I didn't even show all these because there were so many global directors that had their examples in there, but $8,000 to $12,000 a month was the examples there. Integrated global, $31,000 a month. That's a monthly income. That's more than most people I know make in a year. That's crazy. That's crazy. Integrated presidential, $28,065 a month was the bottom person that reported this, all the way up to $69,907 a month. What? Y'all, that's more money in a month than I made as a nurse in a year. And the crazy thing is you might think like, okay, this is crazy, but it's stupid because these aren't things that are even possible for all of us. Y'all, this was one line of business at Intentionality Summit. It was not Optavia wide. There was only one line of business represented at an Intentionality Summit, and that was our mentors, David and Terry Miller, and their business below them that they've sponsored and rippled out to. So this isn't even all of Optavia being represented here. These are incomes that people make under David and Terry Miller's like line of business. So how crazy is that, y'all? I mean, I know it might be stupid, but like, who doesn't want to make $70,000 a month? I mean, I'm just saying, like, that is crazy, stupid income. And think about how many people's lives that you can bless with that kind of income. I think, like, it's time, like, Chrissy said, go to a charity or something like that, or you have someone at your church that wants to go on a missions trip, write the check and give it to them, or give them the money anonymously. Or you got a family member that's struggling, give them the money. How much abundance can you live in with those kinds of incomes? And all it takes is being consistent in your business over time. And not only that, but sharing this amazing gift that we have, that we get to pour into other people and actually help them change their life. We actually get to help them change their life, change their health, get off medications, lose the weight they've been trying to lose for God only knows how long. I mean, That's what we get to give people. But then we get to actually help them by offering the gift of coaching to them and start building this giant business that everyone's giving away hope and help all the time. That's crazy. So I'm going to leave with this. I wanted to show you this quote. Of course, go change lives, and yours will change. Because like I said, the focus here is not just on you, it's on who you can help. But fortune always favors the brave and never helps a man that never helps. It never helps a man that doesn't help himself. I messed that quote up. You see what I mean by it. So fortune always favors the brave and never helps a man that doesn't help himself. So what's the point? You got to get out there and do the work. What's possible is laid in front of you. It's completely possible. You understand some of the basic compensation stuff now, hopefully, or at least you're becoming familiar with it. You know this gift we give away is bonkers. So don't let not completely understanding what we can do financially hold you back from offering this gift to someone. So that's all I got as far as teaching tonight. What I am going to do is I want to bless someone. So let me do the gallery view here. So we still got 10 people hanging in here. I am going to take $50 and give it to someone that's on here live. And you can use that for National Convention, or you can use it to bless someone, or you can do whatever you want with it. It's going to come straight to you. So we got Laura, Gail, Jenny, Christy, Renee. Let me write these names down. I'm going to have to do a drawing. So I'm going to do it as soon as I get off here. Laura, Canino, Gail, Jenny, because I can't see it otherwise, Maggie, Cherry, Lee, Christy, Renee, and Cara. Hope I got everyone that's still up here. So that's all. I'm going to start recording.